because it's an opportunity for each of you to introduce yourselves and why you're running for your office position or part of the county committee. This organization meeting of Kings County, Democratic County, will be held on Wednesday, September 21st at 7 p.m. at the Coney Island Amphitheater, located in the boardwalk between the West 21st and West 23rd Streets, Brooklyn, New York. As per our rules, for the purpose of this organization, filling in vacancies, election of officers, and adoption of rules, and the transaction of such business may be properly come before the committee. So tonight we'll have an opportunity, before we actually get to vote tomorrow, to hear each of the committee members tonight. And tonight, we're going to ask that each member will please reside to 2 minutes in your responses as you are discussing and responding to the questions that are given. So this will be a great opportunity tonight just to share who you are, get some fun facts, and have a great time tonight. So we're asking for each candidate to vibe out with us this evening, and please just own the rules of keeping your responses to 2 minutes or less. And at this time, we're going to get started because we want to make sure we're maximizing every moment of this evening. And we're going to start off with simply explaining the roles and the responsibilities of the position that you're seeking. And at this time, we can begin from, start off with Ms. Henderson.
Hi, I'm Gina Anderson. I'm a candidate.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Anderson. There's a Henderson here and there's an Anderson.
Oh, you're speaking, of course, to Ms.
Yes.
Anderson.
Oh, that's okay, Gina. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Janice Henderson, and I am an experienced county committee member currently holding the position of the ADC 57th chair. In my career and in organizations I volunteered with, I have been both president and committee chair. As the chairperson for the county committee, I assure you that it will run efficiently. I believe that the Democratic Party is the organization that will help us manage the long and winding road out of the current political upheaval that we find ourselves in. I am excited to run for the county committee chairperson to help guide and lead the Brooklyn community through this winding road. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. And we'll now go in order of what I've seen on my screen. We're going to start off with Mr. Campbell.
Thank you. My name is Seamus Campbell. I am a county committee member going strong since 2014 from the 52nd Assembly District, first ED 8, and now it's an ED 14 with redistricting. I am a co-founder of the Brooklyn Young Democrats, the real one, going strong since 2010. I'm on the board of Independent Neighborhood Democrats, and I've held several positions in the Young Democrats local, state, and national levels. Also been a member of the DNC Disability Council. And of course, many people probably know I ran for Democratic State Committee / district leader this past June. Now, why am I running for treasurer? Very simply, more transparency. When we go and look actually at the filings that are on the county website, all you're seeing is big buckets. And then actually, if you look at the numbers that are given at the bottom for looking at the different accounts, they actually don't even match up what's on the BOE site. So you can't even see the one on the correct allocations. What I want to do is, and this is going to be very controversial, but I'm sure it'll come up later. I want to get rid of the housekeeping account, put it all into the campaign account, because I think that honestly, that's the one way that we can keep one set of books and everyone knows exactly what's going through without having to go through multiple different hoops and all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. And Gina Anderson.
Hi, I'm Gina Anderson. I'm a candidate for Sergeant at Arms. The Sergeant at Arms assists the chair in keeping order at meetings and announces participants' names and assembly districts to the secretary when the roll is called. I've worked as a lawyer since 1980. I'm experienced in interpreting and explaining rules and keeping order by listening closely to what people are saying by giving them a chance to speak in an orderly way, and most of all, treating people respectfully. The last 10 years, I've been a volunteer advocate for education equity and mental health with nonprofits that center low-income, Black, Brown, and vulnerable communities, mainly the Alliance for Quality Education and NAMI NYC, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. I'm serving on county committee in AD 42 for my second term after winning contested elections in both. I love Brooklyn and Brooklynites, and that's all of you. Those who know me call me hardworking, honest, and fair. I promise to serve you well as Sergeant at Arms. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. Just want to transparent, if I mispronounce your name, please correct me so I can get it right. We're going to start off now with Emmett. Did I say that correctly, Emmett?
That's right. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Jermaine. I actually haven't had a chance to see you at a Brooklyn Young Democrats meeting before, but I hope you'll join us for the next one. My name is Emmett Sklar, and I'm running for first vice chair, and I want to bring the values and the experiences that I have as a lifelong Brooklynite and a current Young Democrat. And what I mean by that is pretty simple. I want to do something which I think is pretty uncontroversial, which is help the chair run meetings smoothly, because I think we need to be spending more time out there fighting back against Republicans who are trying to take away voting rights than squabbling in here in 13-hour meetings and the like. What I also want to do is make sure that we hear all voices, because in the most diverse borough of the most diverse city in the country, we need to make sure that as a party, we're empowering voices, not just to be heard, but to actually be listened to. And finally, what I want to do as vice chair is make sure that we as a party are focusing on the big issues and not being dragged down by folks who frankly embarrass the party. And what I mean by that is making sure that we as a party focus on taking on the Republicans in our borough who are trying to take congressional and Senate seats from us. And so we can't afford to have leadership that doesn't look like our borough. And so I'm proud to be in a diverse slate of candidates tonight, and I look forward to getting to hear all of your questions and getting to know y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to go to TS.
Hello, everyone. My name is C.S. Candy. I am running for the 7th vice chair, and I'm running for the 7th vice chair because we need more TGNC individuals at the table. And as you know, a transgender woman of color, it's like I'm the only one at the table, and we need to be at the table. We need to be heard. So that's why I'm here, running for the position. The 7th vice chair is for, really more diversity at the table, real diversity at the table. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Arlene.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for hosting this forum, first of all. My name is Arlene Alvarado Macala. I am the current Brooklyn Democratic Party County Committee Chair. And I'm running for re-election because I like to continue to have that the opportunity to show on what it is that we can do together, which is what I've been doing for the past 2 years, especially in a tough time like it was during the pandemic. I was able to, come out and do what I do best, which is serve my community. I currently represent the 54th Assembly District as the district leader, and I just won my re-election. And again, I would like to continue to do what I've been doing for the past 2 years. And for anybody that's listening, if you would like to join me or join us, rather, to continue to, provide services for our members in, Brooklyn as a whole, you're more than welcome to give me a call. I'm a Brooklynite of 36 years. It's my home. I don't know anything else but Brooklyn. So I am very honored to have been representing Brooklyn for the last 2 years. And I would like to continue to do that if I get the support that I'm looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene. Naomi.
Hi, my name is Naomi Rabia. Most of you know me as Naomi. Sorry, it's my son. I'm running for first assistant secretary. And bear with me. I want everyone to know my father died in February of this year. And he and his siblings came to Israel in 1951 as part of Operation Ezra Nehemiah, the massive immigration of Iraqi Jews to Israel. He was a refugee to Israel and then an immigrant to the United States. And he experienced discrimination for being Jewish, for being Arab, and confusion about what it means to be an Arab Jew. Now, it's from my dad that I first learned to understand and conceptualize multicultural identity. And without explicitly saying so, he taught me in the case of prejudice, it is every person's obligation to look at themselves, to see their own behavior and to fix it. And to make things right, you must look at the communities who have been disenfranchised and follow their lead on their terms about how to make things more equitable and fair, to listen and not just be defensive. And he spoke up despite the adversity that he faced at great personal cost. And he taught me that if you have privilege, it's important to speak up. Now, why do I mention this in relation to First Assistant Secretary? That as part of this role, you're part of a team, and a shout out to Vanessa and Rodrigo, who are running as fellow secretarial candidates, that the role is to maintain members for roll call and keep minutes to be distributed to all county community members for transparency. Now, I've done this as part of South Central Brooklyn Unite for Progress, the executive committee, and at work. But I want to note that maintaining records is not just about names. It's about participation. It's about engaging in outreach. It's about noting that people are addressed on their terms as they want to be, by gender, by nickname, by pronoun, by pronunciation. And if you get it wrong, you apologize and try harder. It's about outreaching to people and showing them records about transparency and building a community and mandating participation as equals. And basically, that I really feel that with Vanessa and Rodrigo's, we can build relationships, but as a team, we're comfortable enough to have pushback. So if I get something wrong, I'm open to that, because the only way you make things better. And I'm grateful also for my father for teaching that. And I really think if we have a team like that, that we're open to both positive and negative feedback, wow, could we make the Brooklyn Party even better than it is now? And thank you, everyone, on this call. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Naomi, and my condolences to your family as well.
Thank
William?
you.
Oh, thank you for calling me, and thank you, neighbors. We're all proud Brooklynites. I'm just going to read a little script, and then I'm going to share my feelings. I have lived in Williamsburg with my family since 2005. I immediately became involved with local neighborhood environmental and political concerns of our community. I'm the president of North Brooklyn Progressive Democrats, the chair of the ADC 50. I'm also a committee member. I sit on Committee Board 1 and Friends of Cooper's Park, and I'm a proud member of North New Kings Democrats. I consider myself a bridge builder with our diverse community and an environmental activist against National Grid. I'm running for vice chair because I think as the Democratic Party, we have to be leading more and protecting ourselves. I live in North Brooklyn. We have been polluted by industrial pollution for over 100 years. I cannot tell you how many times I get called from my neighbors because they have a baby suffering from asthma. We need to be taking the lead. There are no more tomorrows. We have to act today. So as the fourth vice chair, I'm going to be pushing the second committee to be in the lead and addressing the environmental concerns. And one thing is that for us to control the people to control public utilities, it has to be public utilities, not privately owned like National Grid in Great Britain. And again, we're all Brooklynites, we all want the best, but I think we have to focus more on environment because there are no more tomorrows. Thank you for your time, and God bless you all.
Thank you, William. Now it's your turn.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Barbara Williams. I am with the 53rd District. I have been a county committee member for a few terms. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. For a few terms. I don't have anything written, so I'm going to speak from the heart. My life is all about giving back to the community. My life is all about providing equity and equality. I spent the last 3 years working on projects where we made sure that people in underserved areas had the resources they needed during COVID. During COVID, I worked a full-time job, and I also gave out over 25,000 PPE and home-cooked meals and meals from restaurants as well. I've served on several boards from the NAACP, as well as 500 Men Making a Difference. And I have over 20 years experience as an administrator. So I hope you'll see that my experience is with the people as well as administrative experience, according to my dog, as you can hear. Sorry about that. And I hope that you'll see me fit to join you for the third vice chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Deshaun, take it away.
Hello, greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity and the space to present. My name is Deshaun, and I am a resident of 57 and also a part of Assembly 57 district. I am a social butterfly, and I also communicate and commune with others. That being said, as the 6th vice chair, I can work well with others and provide leadership. I'm on several different clubs and have volunteered in the community. I provide warmth and love to people and full transparency to use my voice and to be a voice of those in the neighborhood. And I believe that's important to this position where we are in the ground floor of the Democratic Party. So I can support, and I definitely can be able to do that. And with that being said, I hope that that can take in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Deshaun. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to try it. Yamil.
You got it, Jermaine, and thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening, Brooklyn. My name is Yamil, and I'm going to say it out. It's Spate like 8, Spate Miller. I live here in the 54th Assembly District. I currently serve as your 8th Vice Chair in Kings County. I share with you all that I am born and raised in New York City, but I have been a Brooklynite for the last 10 years. I come from Queens, and I'm proud to be here in Brooklyn to work with and see what makes up New York City. It's very unique. And I also served for the last 20 years as a public servant. When I came to Brooklyn, what was important to me is hitting the ground. I started a block association, building with the community and teaching civility and partnerships. I'm looking for your support as I run as your assistant treasurer for the county. What's important to me in that role is accountability, transparency, and integrity in operating in those 3 areas. What's very unique about me and the fact that me running for this role is that I also served in the New York State Tax Department. And it doesn't get any more integral than the New York State Tax Department. But in that, the county needs to make sure that people are accountable for the funds that are spent, the records and recording, as I heard, and that is what I'm looking to do. Also, in what I do here in Kings County is I write grants. I make sure that what I write for the community it adds up to what the community needs, but more importantly, goes right back to the funder to make sure that what was done correctly and it was integral and it actually served the people who walk through our county and call it Brooklyn. So I look forward to working with each and every one of you, and thank you again.
And thank you. All right, Samia, please correct me if I've pronounced it wrong.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sumaya Rumaim. I'm the founder of Union of Arab Women, which is a small political club in South Brooklyn, focusing in empowering Arab women and making sure that the Arab community are engaged in elections and doing more voter registration. I'm actually running for the seat because I want to bring my value and experience to support the Democrat Club, because I'm proud Democrat, and we want to get our, especially we are focusing in South Brooklyn, and we want to get our seat back. We had done so much work in 2018 to turn our district blue, but unfortunately we lost it again in 2020, but hopefully this year we're going to get it back. So that's why I'm running. I want to make sure that that I'm getting Arab community engaged. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Nancy. Nancy? Yes.
My name is Nancy Tong, the 47 Assembly District Leader. I became the 47 Assembly District on 2014. And in 2020, I became the Executive Committee Secretary. One of my roles as the Secretary is to sign important documents as it relates to the county and the Board of Elections. I am also seeking re-election, and I hope to have everyone's support. Furthermore, I am the first Asian American elected official in Brooklyn. Currently, I facilitate workshops within the Asian American community to promote greater voter turnout in elections. I hope to collaborate with more groups and organizations to promote the importance of voting. If anyone needs me to facilitate a workshop on the importance of voting, please reach out to me and we can collaborate. In addition, I also speak to many people within the 47 Assembly District who reach out to me to confide to me their issues, and I assist them with finding solutions to their concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Sabrina?
Good evening, Brooklyn. My name is Sabrina Gates, and I am running to be the second vice secretary. As some of you may know, in this position, you assist the secretary with their roles and responsibilities, as well as fill in during any absences of both the secretary and first vice secretary. I have always been an extremely organized and thoughtful person who likes to plan ahead and think through any issues that might arise. I think these traits will lend themselves very well to this position. I recently ran for district leader in the 52nd Assembly District, and it gave me the distinct pleasure to meet so many of you amazing people who live within it from all walks of life. I spoke with people who are eager to learn more and those who feel disenfranchised. I want to give both those audiences a voice on this board. I've been on the committee for some time now, and I have seen the progress the body has made. Sometimes this is easy to forget. I am willing to get in the trenches, to show up and work to continue building momentum for our party, because that's what it is, our party, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. It is our party. Awesome. Let's go to Debbie.
Did you say Debbie?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. I am sorry, I am driving. My name is Debbie Lewis, and I'm just coming from a national voter registration day full of events right here in Kings County. I am running for secretary because I believe our community is missing voices like mine. And as a grassroots organizer, a mom, an activist, I know how important it is to have diversity in leadership. My mom had me protesting and volunteering with her union, 1199, at the age of 5 years old. And my life is that of a servant. And my mom taught me how to do so and how to be a common sense Democrat. So I am in the 58th Assembly District, and I am born and raised in Brooklyn. I'm a Brooklyn girl till I go. And I'm a member of NAACP, CAMBA. I serve on several nonprofits. I volunteer at local shelters, and I'm also a member of the Lions Club. I also provide service to migrants and asylum seekers on a weekly basis, and I am the president of my block association. So long story short, I'm a hard worker, and I'm dedicated to the things that I do on a daily basis. Just as my mom taught me, I am teaching my daughter now as a first-time mom, living right here in Brooklyn. So for the past 2 years, I have been serving with the Civic Engagement Commission at LAC, which is a subcommittee helping to translate materials in multiple languages. And I believe that it's important that our elected officials in our city support the people who live here. And running for this seat as secretary, I know that this translates into building strength in our processes in Brooklyn, right here in New York. And like I echo the voices of those that came before me, I believe in 100% transparency and common sense Democrat moves. And so I'm asking for your support as I run for secretary. And last but not least, I just wanted to say my condolences to Naomi, and you're in my thoughts. Thank you, Jermaine.
Thank you, Debbie. District Leader Henry Butler.
Oh, good evening. Good evening. I apologize for the mask. I tested positive for COVID, so I am required to keep my mask on in the house. My name.
You don't have to apologize no more. It's the norm now of the world.
Right. Thank you. So my name is Henry L. Butler. I am the district leader for the 56th district, which covers Bedford-Stuyvesant and North Crown Heights. I am running for re-election as the vice chair of the Kings County Democratic Party. My background is I started off as a union organizer with my union, my previous union, TW Local 100, making sure members of my union were being registered to vote and making sure their voices were being heard. I am currently district manager of Brooklyn Community Board 3. I've been there for 8 years, and before that, I served as the chair of Community Board 3 as well. Member of the Brooklyn NAACP, where I was the former chair of the Labor Committee for the Brooklyn NAACP. I saw someone put into the chat asking what are the responsibilities of a district leader. So I usually break it down into 4 responsibilities. District leaders are, number 1, responsible for staffing the polling site within their district on election day and for early voting. Number 2, responsible for selecting polling sites within their district, making sure their sites are ADA accessible, making sure everyone has a fair opportunity to vote, making sure they're not disenfranchising the voters within their district, all voters within their district when it comes to selecting polling sites within their district. Number 3, we are responsible for vetting attorneys who are looking to be run for judge on the Democratic Party line, or those judges who are looking to move to Supreme. And the 4th responsibility is we serve as the liaison for the residents of the district to the legislative elected officials. So if you're having issues in your district and you're trying to reach your council member, or you're trying to reach the assembly member or your state senator or your congress member, it's the district leaders who have direct access to them, who are supposed to be your voices to those elected officials. That way, if you're not hearing from them, your district leaders will make sure your concerns are being addressed by them, whether it's through meetings or whether it's through directly having them come meet you directly. That are, to me, the 4 responsibilities of a district leader. As the county vice chair, one of the things we need to be looking at is making sure we are expanding voter turnout within Brooklyn. I know people always say we need voter registration. No, we need voter registration. We need voter education, but more importantly, we need voter participation. I'm gonna say that again, voter participation, because if you look at the turnout within Brooklyn, turnout particularly in communities of color, the turnout has been dropping and dropping steadily every year. So particularly in those off years where we need voter turnout to increase. So I'm once again running for re-election as the vice chair of the Kings County Democratic Party and hope to have everyone's support. Thank you so much.
And thank you. And I believe that everyone had opportunity to share, introduce themselves. I'm not missing anyone. Yes, I am. Brad, you just joined. Brad, go for it. Brad Reed.
Yeah, apologies. I had a train delay, and when you live as far deep in Brooklyn as I do, that means a very long trip home. Plus a mile walk from the subway because no bus came because it's
no worries. Thank you for
one of those days. Very happy to be here. I'm running for 6th vice chair of the county committee. I have been, I'm an attorney by trade, but I've been very active in local Democratic politics for probably about 15 years now down here in the Sheepshead Bay, Marine Park area. In a previous time, I'd worked for local council member Lou Fiddler on his staff and was a part of his Democratic club for as long as from the day I walked in and met him until his passing. And after his passing, I was honored to fill the vacancy as district leader and have done that for several years since then. And the Democratic Party, particularly in this part of Brooklyn, I knock on a door and I say, hi, I'm a Democrat, and people, start to close the door and you have to talk to them and say, hold on, let me tell you about, all the good things that we can do, we have done, we want to do. And it is getting tougher and tougher in parts of Brooklyn. And I think it's very important that my neighbors' voices be heard and that also we find a way to speak to them. And I really, want to be able to be a bridge, be a voice in both directions. And I think it was Debbie Lewis was saying as I was signing on, just a personal thing that matters a lot to me happens to be language access. It's something I've worked on in a different capacity for a number of years, and especially down in this part of Brooklyn. Thanks. down in this part of Brooklyn, a lot of Russian speakers, a little bit over a lot of Haitian Creole speakers, who I've seen at the poll site struggling when there weren't translators, and being able to assist voters is one of the prime duties, both as a district leader, but also as a party. And I really want to work to stress those going forward. So thank you very much.
And thank you, Brad. And thank you to each of the candidates tonight just introduced themselves. Tonight, I heard community, teamwork, diversity, voter turnout from each and every one of you. And that's what the Democratic Party is all about, coming together as one and working together as one. And in a moment now, we're going to discuss our district involvement and what do we have been doing in our communities. And there'll be opportunity for each of you to share out to the audience tonight with that. So as you all know, the Democratic Party is extremely and incredibly diverse, and we pride ourselves on being a grassroots organization where change happens at a local level. We want every Brooklynite to feel welcome and inspired to get involved. With 21 assembly districts, there are lots of enacting local change. Can you please give us a brief breakdown of your assembly district and what initiatives you have done to improve the lives of Brooklynites in it? And we're going to start off with Ms. Henderson.
Okay, well, thank you for coming to me with that question. I have been, as I mentioned earlier, I've been the chair of the Assembly District Committee for the 57th. And so being part of the chair, I have worked with the subcommittees in order to do community outreach. So we've done quite a bit. We've done election education for some of our community. We've reached out to some of the immigrants in our area. So we've been doing quite a bit in that particular area. The thing that I would like to have happen more so between the ADCs and the county committee is to have more communication. For instance, if the county committee has some type of event happening in our ADC, then we should know about it so that we can enhance and help out with those types of events. And that hasn't been happening. So as, again, communication between the two groups, we are sort of in the middle, the ADCs are in the middle, and to reach out to our community itself. So that's one of the things I like to have happen, to have more communication, because it's not happening now. When I became the ADC chair, no one reached out to me from the county committee. I doubt if they've reached out to the other county committees, which is the 44th, the 52nd, the 50th, the 51st, the 52nd, and of course the 55th. 57th. So no communication between us, and we are the organizations in that we can reach out to our different communities in order to even help more with elections, with voting rights, with voting for our individual constituency, and that hasn't happened. So my community, my work has been with the ADC 57 and getting that running and getting that the events happening within the ADC 57.
Thank you, Ms. Henderson. Mr. Campbell.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, absolutely. With the 21 assembly districts, can you just give us a breakdown of your initiatives you have done to improve the lives of Brooklynites?
Sure, thank you. A lot of it, I think, just comes down to my participation. As I said in my beginning, I helped start the Brooklyn Young Democrats, and for the past decade, they have been going strong with knocking on doors, making calls, texting, going into other states, and also helping to elect Democrats up and down the ballot, which, you know, we have finally had in 2018, a blue wave that actually helped us take back the legislature. And look at what we got. We got basically no excuse absentee voting. We have early voting. We have codified abortion rights. We have stronger protections for the LGBTQ plus community. And so therefore I think that by that same sort of participation that also I've done within other levels of Democratic politics, it has actually made things better and has taught our community why the Democratic Party is best for it. Now, also, I've done a lot of work in terms of accessibility. I am someone with an invisible disability. I was the former chair of the National Young Democrats Disability Caucus and on the DNC Disability Council. So there I had to also basically evangelize on things that the party is doing to help people with disabilities, as well as also things that are happening locally that I can help on the strong, larger level. So one thing heavily that I've actually just recently joined the Voting Accessibility Advisory Committee for the New York City Board of Elections. So one of the things I've been doing is trying to tell people about basically mobile voting spots at nursing homes, but also telling people about, or the Board of Elections about various issues. Like there was one person I heard of who at John Jay High School, the wheelchair lift actually broke down. So their daughter was stuck there. They had to call the fire department, which basically they did nothing. And so therefore it's just trying to show then what the issues are, and then just trying to talk to the local elected officials and other city and state government leaders that can actually help try to fix these issues.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Right on time. Ms. Anderson.
Thank you, Jermaine. I live in Flatbush in the 42nd AD. During the pandemic, I volunteered with Maya Wiley and colleagues for Flatbush Thrives. That was an effort that contacted very small local businesses to help them, direct them to get PPP loans and other support for small businesses in the Flatbush community. Sometimes these were like 2-chair beauty salons and barbershops, and that was a lot of outreach. Regarding education equity, I have been working with parents, mostly mothers of color in this local district, education district, to basically get better funding for public education. Everybody knows how the students and the teachers and the schools have suffered during the pandemic. And the most recent thing I've done is Mayor Adams has cut the budget, particularly for education. And the parents I work with and I have been bringing, especially through the Alliance for Quality Education, tremendous pressure to get the mayor to restore the money that he cut from the budget for our public schools, because we think that regardless, whatever zip code the students live in, they deserve the highest quality education. With regard to mental health, I also work with the NAMI organization, and NAMI is deeply involved in mental health access in the community. There is still a lot of stigma, a lot of difficulty with the police for people who suffer from mental illness. And the group I work with, NAMI, has tremendous supports, and I'm an advocate for that. I think that I won't go on, but I love this district, I love this community, and if you ask me for help, I will come through.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Emmett.
Thank you. Well, Brooklyn, like so many people have said, is my home, and the neighborhoods of the 44th Assembly District truly raised me. And the city took my family in when fleeing pogroms and persecution. They sought asylum in this very city. And it's been the privilege of my life over the last few weeks to help secure for the asylum seekers of this generation housing in shelters, making sure that their children are in our DOE public schools. That's part of my job, working for a tenants' rights attorney. And it's something that I take very personally, because at the end of the day, politics is personal. And I hope to bring my experience working not only with folks in my assembly district in the 44th, where I'm a member of the community board, where I serve as the youngest member the youngest trustee in the history of the Park Slope Civic Council, but I also hope to take my experience throughout Brooklyn. You know, growing up, my father owned a small business, and it's been a privilege to work with a business improvement district to make sure that our small business owners who suffered so much during the COVID pandemic are able to truly thrive in an environment and in a borough that's changed so much. I want to make sure that we can build upon the work that I've done around language access in our party to make sure not only that the systems that are in place in the Brooklyn Democratic Party continue to improve, but that they truly serve everybody, not just the folks that have historically held power in this borough. And so my experience will inform my work as first vice chair, and I hope to bring it all to bear if I have the honor of serving in that position. Thanks.
Thank you. TS?
Yes, as a candidate that lives in the 58th district, I, as TS Candy, is the executive director of Black Trans Nation. We have done, and what we are currently doing is a Love Where You Live. Love Where You Live is basically where we basically go throughout the 58 district and we're doing sanitation. There's a lot of trash that's on the streets, and we're have our trash bags, and we as in community and members that lives in this particular area, we give them a stipend to come out with us to basically clean the neighborhood. So that's one thing that we're doing in the neighborhood, which is basically there's a lot of homelessness that's going on in these particular neighborhoods as well, sleeping outside and things of that nature. So what I do is I use them individuals for things around the neighborhood, like, making sure that they're registered to vote, making sure they're telling their friends. We also do cookouts where we give out free food to the community members that's in this particular area. So as a marginalized individual is really, really important. We also been giving out PPE, over here in this area to all the individuals out here and giving them some information on what is city council, what is assembly, because these individuals really, really, really don't know. So making sure that we educate them on what is actually happening around them. And I yield the floor. Thank you.
All right. Robert Rules of Order. And Arlene.
Thank you. So I've been living in the 54th Assembly District for the past 25 years. My youngest son is 27, so I moved here when he was pretty young, and I've been involved in a lot of just groups that deal with children. I became the president of a soccer league where I made sure that the children had responsible adults around them all the time whenever they were practicing. I became the treasurer for my son's elementary school. I was the PTA treasurer. That's how I got started. I started volunteering with non-for-profits in my neighborhood, throughout my district. And then finally, when I became the district leader in 2020, I had just started doing food distributions, which, a lot of our panelists here were kind enough to give me a hand. And I was able to get non-for-profits in my neighborhood to go out to other districts to deliver food throughout this hard time that we've been having. I've had, 6 to 7 different food distributions going on at the same time at any moment, even myself going out there and bagging foods and handing it out. I've been, as the chair for the county committee, I've been able to do, events, even if it was Zoom events, so that we can let our county members and just Brooklyn as a whole, what it is that we can do, what is it that we do as Brooklynites. We bring awareness as to what's going on out there. We give a sense of belonging to Brooklynites. I don't care if you just moved here 3 days ago or three years ago, 30 years ago. We're all Brooklynites, and you have a place here. You have a place with us. There's so many different things that I've been trying to do that it's been hard. As a district leader, we don't have funding. We have to fundraise at a time like COVID. there's really no way that we can do that, but a little bit at a time. So we don't have a lot of funding, but whatever we can do, we do it, and we do it from the heart. But we do have to reach out to everyone that can help us. You know, sometimes we reach out to each other as district leaders for that support, and that's something that we have been able to do. You know, I reach out to the 56th, to the 55th, to the 60th, you know, to the 43rd. So to me, it doesn't matter. And that's what I bring to the table. I want to make sure that we all work as unity. I've been saying it from the beginning, and that's what I've been practicing from the beginning. It's about bringing unity to Brooklynites. And I hope that, you know, I'm able to continue to do that. I've proven that that's what I come with, you know, with unity in my back and in front of me and by my side. So I'm hoping that you all can see that and, you know, join me in actually being unified in Brooklyn. The Democratic Party needs unity, and we need to stand together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're now going to have Debbie go, and then we're going to have Democratic leader Rajneesh Bishad share out a few words for us.
Thank you, Jermaine. Just to answer that question, I led and helped to implement RCV, also known as ranked choice voting, which is now citywide, and I am working on the campaign for it to be statewide. I also worked on the municipal voting law, which allows non-citizens the ability to vote. And you know, that is going through some legal ramifications right now. I'm also a member of LAC for language assistance. And so all of these things that I've done have serviced the community as a whole, the whole Kings County, as well as doing additional voter education. And during the first few months of COVID, I helped to deliver over 150,000 pounds of food in several parts of Brooklyn through a large initiative. And you know, that was just a rewarding task all by itself. So in short, I canvass and advocate on demand. And as the chair for the subcommittee on economic development at NAACP, the Brooklyn chapter, we reach out to multiple businesses and help with the events and trainings, and also provide resources to the businesses. So that's a little bit of what I've done in Kings County. And, you know, as I said, I canvass and advocate and do work on demand as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Debbie. And now we're just going to do a quick segue, and we're going to introduce our Assembly member and also Kings County Democratic Chair, Rajneesh Bishad Hermelin. Welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Jermaine, for being the moderator for this very important, needed candidate forum. I want to thank everyone for attending this forum, which is vital to our democratic process. And I want to thank all the Brooklyn Democratic district leaders for putting this forum together, and all the volunteers. I also want to thank all of you for participating and participating in the democratic process to run for a position with the Democratic Party. With over 1.2 million Democrats in the Brooklyn Party, we are a gorgeous and united mosaic of leaders and activists of varied ethnicities, religions, and ideologies. And as the first female Black leader of the Brooklyn Democratic Party, I am proudly announcing that I am running for re-election for county chair to continue to strengthen and unite our party as we work to elect Democratic leaders and improve the lives of every Brooklynite. Under my leadership, the party went from troubled finances to having the most robust fundraising and finances in history. The party played a major role in our election of Brooklyn-based Democrat candidates for the citywide, statewide, and federal offices of the mayor, controller, public advocate, attorney general, and state majority leader. There's now the most diverse slate of New York State Supreme Court judges nominated by the party. Brooklyn used to be the outer borough, and now it is the center of the political universe. And that is a responsibility I do not take lightly as the county chair. With all the responsibilities I face as a Democratic leader for the largest county, including taking a full-time course load at Brooklyn law, writing and passing legislation in the assembly, all while pregnant, some ask, why am I running? And it's because this is a historical chance to enact historical change as the largest county party in the US. And with the gun restrictions, abortion rights, voting rights, and more on the chopping block across the United States, I need to keep the party united to fight issues that will affect the entire future of our nation. And as a law student, it is my sworn duty to ensure this sweeping change to build back Brooklyn better is done with utmost transparency and by the books. I am proud to have the support of colleagues both in Brooklyn, Albany, and across the nation that have attended all of our events. And most importantly, I can feel my baby right now kicking in support. We will continue to relentlessly focus on improving and uplifting the lives of all Brooklynites. Nothing will get in the way of our united Brooklyn democracy. Again, I thank all of you for attending and participating in the democratic process. I want to thank all the volunteers, our district leaders, our young Dems, Jermaine, for putting this together, and remind everyone to come tomorrow to our organizational meeting and vote. I promise it will be short, it won't be 21 hours, and this time a much more efficient process. Thank you so much, and have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Assembly Member. And for the sake of time, I know everyone did not get to answer the first question, so just going to switch it up just a little bit. So I'm going to have the second half answer this question first, and then we're going to go from there. So we're going to reverse, so everyone will still have an opportunity to share out. The question I'm about to ask is very similar to the first question, but just slightly different. For this question is that pretty much future improvements. If you're elected, what positive changes would you like to enact for the party over your 2-year term if elected? Once again, what positive changes would you like to enact for the party over your 2-year term? And we're going to ask if you can briefly answer that question as concise as possible. We're going to start off with Barbara.
Thank you so much. I've been doing a lot of work when it comes to equality and cultural equity within my district. One of the things I would like to do is to show other people within my community that they can be part of this great thing we have here. So many people aren't educated about the process, what it means to be part of county committee. And we can start doing that, and we can actually bring up new generations so that we can create the future that we want to have with our young kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for modeling straight to the point and concise. Love it. Great. We're going to take it now to Brad.
Just when I had a whole answer worked out for the first one. The two things that jump to mind, the first is the thing I mentioned earlier, which is language access. And there's actually a lot that the party can do. The Board of Elections doesn't fill out all the interpreter slots. They do not have enough interpreters for most languages. I mean, particularly locally, I know Chinese is very short. Working with the many communities of Brooklyn and trying to find more people to fill those roles to make sure that voters have access to interpreters that they might need, and also just to expand the number of languages that the Board of Elections itself covers, not just the city program, would be absolutely tremendous. I have more ideas, but you said concise, so I'll stick to that one.
Beautiful. And we'll have opportunity to ask more questions in a moment. Sabrina. Thank you, Brad.
Hi. So let's see, where do I start? I would love to see a more unified party. I know everyone is not going to agree all of the time, but I think one of the things we do have in common is that we're all Democrats and we want the best for the communities that we serve. Our city, our state, our nation have a lot of challenges ahead, and we need to forge ahead to make sure that we empower people so that they feel like they have a voice and they feel like they have room and opportunity to participate. I want to see us help provide resources to get all of our assembly districts organized, hold more unified events. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar, but during MLK Day, the party did have a program where different clubs participated, and I know ours did a food drive along with another club, and that was great. And I would love to see us have more of those types of events. I would love to see us have club forums where different club leaders can meet each other and share best practices. and also provide training for people to get involved in different areas of the party. I most recently did T3 training that the Democratic Party offers, and I think that it offers a lot of skills that would be beneficial to a lot of people who are eager to learn. And so that's about it.
Thank you, Sabrina. Nancy. Nancy?
Yes.
There we are.
Okay. Oops. Okay, what I want to see changes is in the 47 Assembly District is where I live, I've been there for 18 years, and that I see they're very diverse and a lot of people that do not speak English. So what I want to do is like get them more involved. That's why, as I was saying before, I go out and do workshops with them and telling them, you know, the importance of voting. And we also have a neighborhood team where I am involved with the assemblyman. And what we do is like we do with our neighborhood, we do cleanups. And also we have projects like they were trying to build 2 homeless shelters in our area where there is schools and senior center there. So that's what we are working on. And we, as a matter of fact, on Thursday, we will be having another Zoom meeting about the homeless shelter. The shelter does not help the homeless. You know, they need professional help. So that's what we are doing in our neighborhood. And also merchants, there are a lot of problems with the merchants, people going in, stealing. So that's what we're trying to educate people what they should be doing. And when I first came to Bensonhurst 18 years ago, I was a volunteer. And with my volunteer work, I met the assemblyman. Then I was working in his office and I realized I really like politics. So I entered politics. That's how I all got started. And I really love what I do. And I like to advocate for the people. And I wanted it to be more diverse so that minority will have a say on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. We're going to keep it moving. Deshaun.
Hi, thank you. So the 2 things that I would enact is more community service events, which is kind of echoing what one of my colleagues has said, which is to get community members and also CC members together to host or to inform and educate those about county committee, how to get involved with ranked choice voting. And another thing is to make things more compliant and accessible to ADA with people with disabilities and also those who have inaccessibilities to attend meetings. Thank you.
All right, Yamil.
Good evening, everyone, again. You know, I just want to echo the sentiments of what I hear, you know, my fellow Brooklynites speak to, but, you know, I'm just going to drill down on it. You know, I'm a millennial, and the 2 important pieces to me that will help build, I believe, our county is to increase our civic engagement, which will tie directly into civic responsibility of our county. You know, I find that one of the most critical components of our educational system, where they took out, you know, civic responsibility, it left a gap and a void in the hearts and minds of many New Yorkers, especially Brooklyn being, you know, one of the largest Democratic counties. And oftentimes, you know, we find that, you know, people don't know, you know, the why and why, or the what and what, and they become, you know, less engaged by that. And I feel that as a county, you know, collectively, you know, if we take, you know, it a step higher and inform folks, you know, on what it is to be engaged, you know, in civility, I think that we will collectively have an outcome of more responsible civilians in society. And I'm near and dear to that, because I almost want to say that civics came out of the curriculum right around the time when I was in junior high school. And we missed the mark. And this is why we want to get more young people involved, because, you know, we know that they are the future of tomorrow. And if we don't build on that, we fail. And I don't want any one of us to fail when we reach, those later ages, because we have to keep the fire burning. And civic engagement brings on that civic responsibility to ensure what we have to do in our county. And thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go to William, Naomi, and then TS.
Thank you. I want to encourage our county committee to provide resources to our county committee members. When the pandemic hit us, the federal government, state and city failed us, but it was us county committee members as neighbors. That's what appealed to me, to become county committee members, to be a good neighbor. And as a good neighbor, we help, set up food kitchens, clothe people, take care of our streets, take care of the unfortunate drug problems with the syringes. But more important than that, we got people to vote. They came to us asking us questions. We focused really on local. I would say in this past month, we helped register 100 new voters. And these are not just people just move in. I have neighbors who haven't voted for 20 years. They finally got them to register and they have voted. We helped them, very early bird and go there and walk. I think what we need to do is provide the resources for all our county committee members to engage with our neighbors. And there we can build up our strength, because it's not just young and old, it's all of us being educated and working together hand in hand. And I firmly believe that. I think we have a believable resource we haven't tapped with our county committee members. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Naomi. Yes.
Yeah, I want to say, of course, I'm talking about me, but nobody does anything by themselves. So we all realize that it takes a community and all the issues are important. So it's good to have people with different focuses as long as you're collaborating together, because things are interconnected. So a lot of what I did for South Central Brooklyn United for Progress at the beginning, in addition to working on a charter of rules, was creating a database of allies. And the point of it was, and then to interview people from the different groups to understand different needs. So people talk about building community, but you need to do that so you understand people on their terms, and you're not recreating the wheel where it doesn't have to be. So issues that are very important to me are voting rights, which has been said before. So when South Central Brooklyn United did it, we followed Brooklyn Double NACP. I sat in on the meetings. We sat in on the meetings. We checked in. With UPA also. And we did postcarding as with Common Ground. So the point is that don't recreate the wheel, check with the community. Another major issue, which I don't know, I'm sorry if I missed it, the New York Health Act. Everyone deserves universal health care, and it's a real problem and inequality that we've seen in the pandemic. And I want to just remember another founding member, Ellen Belofsky, who passed away last year, and that was really important to her. So we're going to continue her work. And also in terms of that, you got to make sure, as people said, language is accessible, because it's all interconnected. So for me, I translated stuff into Hebrew for NYHA, and I met with groups from Orthodox communities, conservative community, Jewish. The point is to reach out to everyone on these issues. And so civic engagement, you also got to get to know the people. So within South Central Brooklyn, I send people birthday cards. I know with people who had cancer to check in with them when their relatives died, to send birthdays. So you have to know people on that level and to meet them when they're at. That's all. So voting rights and New York Health Act are my main two.
Thank you, Naomi. TS.
Yes, thank you. As the 7th vice chair, I would like to first enact accountability amongst the county, to make sure that everybody is, is held accountable for, their actions and things that are being put forward. And number 2, education, making sure that we are educating ourselves about, what's happening on the grounds, with the homeless, with the burial grounds. There's burial grounds here in Brooklyn, and there's so much they're trying to get rid of it and build homes on top of a burial ground. So, and a burial ground that's been there, that individuals that's been there, that lived in the area approximately 20 plus years didn't even know it was a burial ground. So educating the community on what's in front of them. Because education, and I yield the floor.
Thank you, TS. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe everyone shared either on the first question or the second question. Is there anyone here that did not answer either one? All right, awesome, I'm doing good. Great, I was able to get everyone in for either the first question or the second question. So with some time to spare, I want us to think about the next question now. is thinking about our midterm elections coming up, very important here in November. And we just faced June and August primary elections. And now November is the pivotal general election, which is quickly approaching. I can't believe time is going by so fast that October is coming literally next week. Can you tell us about how you got voters involved and engaged this summer, and how you plan to get Brooklyn voters even more engaged to vote in November to keep Brooklyn and our nation blue? So many of you mentioned earlier about community, teamwork, diversity, and voter turnout, and this is now an opportunity to address what is your plan to get voters out. And we'll start with, I'll switch it up a bit. We'll start off with Mr. Campbell.
Thank you. And actually, I'll try to answer the second question along with this at the same time. So number one thing is, and I said this in the get-go, get rid of the housekeeping committee, put everything in the campaign committee. I actually, ahead of this meeting, did look over the filings in both accounts for about the past 2 years. I didn't see a single cent being sent to a candidate. We have races in Southern Brooklyn this year that could flip red, or are currently red, and we should flip them blue. Name, case in point, of course, Max Rose. We had a race last year, Ina Vernikoff winning. There's absolutely no reason why we have a Southern Brooklyn Republican right now. So, however, when we send out emails, that's saying vote for this person, that comes from the housekeeping account. That's supposed to be not in supporting any one candidate as is written by election law. Now, I also looked over our filings recently. Housekeeping account has $255,000 in it and change. Campaigns committee, just $2,900. There's absolutely no reason why. And fun fact for you, both of them are listed as King County Democratic County Committee. So when you write a check, you don't know which way it's going. So when when our donors are donating to this party, they don't know if it's actually going to be helping candidates. For all they know, it could also just be them keeping the lights on, which honestly, we should have some very important, we should definitely have the proper budgeting for that. But if we're not spending money with get out the vote drives, voter registration drives, making sure our candidates are on the air, basically hitting every type of medium, then why do we have all this money in the bank?
Thank you, Mr. Campbell, for your thoughts, and take it away, Emmett.
Sure. Well, I think it starts with showing up. And I think that means, for one, leading by example. And so I have to note that we're running for a position that meets when the county committee meets once a year. And so if folks on this call want the job so bad, I think they ought to support the common sense reforms that bring back 2 meetings a year. And I can't help but note, speaking of showing up, that some of the folks who are running on this slate did not show up tonight. Now, I'm not talking about the folks who didn't hear that this meeting was happening until the last 12 hours. I'm talking about the folks who haven't bothered to show up and answer questions. I think we need to lead by example if we want people to come to the polls in some of the key races, not only in Brooklyn, but around the city and around the country. Now, I think there are a couple other things we can do as well to make sure that folks come out, and that starts with meeting them where they're at. We need county committee meetings and party meetings that are near subway stops, accessible public transportation, because we know in a city that runs on public transportation, we are excluding every single person who doesn't have a car or motor vehicle when we meet in inaccessible locations. Meeting people where they're at also means language access. It means doing the work. And I've done the hard work and will continue to do the hard work to activate folks in my community and around this borough by helping lead the Rep Your Block effort to organize and bring people into the county committee process, a process which I may add needs to be reformed so that we have more participation, because we could be truly building a bench of people not only to run for office, but to support the strong Democrats that we have in our borough who are doing great work, or the folks who could be strong Democrats in Congress like Max Rose. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about some of these common sense reforms. And I can't wait for the November elections when we're going to, take back some of these red seats in South Brooklyn.
Thank you, Emmett, for sharing. And we're going to now go to Gina.
Thank you, Jermaine. I'm going as a county committee member who's had to run for election for each of my terms, and who also has been a volunteer for many local candidates for many years, I know that what I have to do in my area is call up people I know, knock on doors of people I don't know, speak out at various neighborhood association meetings, recruit friends, make clear to everyone how important it is to vote and how our democracy is so threatened. And all these things are important, whether we're talking at the most local level up to the highest level. I would also like to say that in order for us to really engage voters, we have to make a better impression. We, as the Brooklyn Democratic Party, have to make a better impression on voters. Right now, what many voters see is conflict. They've heard about 13-hour meetings. Some of the things that Emmett said, I have to confirm. I think these create a very negative image of what politics, voting, and the Democratic Party in Brooklyn is about. So I think we have to really engage people at the level of service to the community, to our democracy, and we all have to. It's one thing to say that we are united. It's another thing to really, whether it be in small groups, to talk out problems and to make ourselves a model of community mediation, discussion, and give and take, so that it's not a question of different sides. It's really people, neighbors, community members, officials talking to each other to get out our communities to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to go to TS, then we're going to go to Sabrina.
Yeah, so but this was my first time running on the ballot, so it was very interesting. I was really, really nervous. So what I did was I started in my building, and people that know me, knocking on their doors, telling them what I was running for county committees, which some of them didn't know what that was. They just know that, hey, I've been getting a green slip all week, I've just been signing. So, I was able to really have that conversation with them. And then not only that, then it was word of mouth. It's like 4 Democrats in the house. So they like, okay, well, we all going to go vote for you, So, and then not only that, I do a lot of work on the street and, walking up to people and giving them, cards. It was due to me looking like them, dressed like them, it was just like, oh my goodness, I can go, to the next building and have a conversation with a county committee member, about our housing, about, the pipes, though, we had a roof's been falling in lately over here in this area. So, being able to go to the city councilwoman and assemblywoman and like, hey, we need to do a rally out here in front of this office because, there's too many tenants, in need of help. So, yeah, so just organizing. And then like, there's individuals that never voted, that was homeless and things of that nature that lives in this area. So having them to work with me and people that know people, it was we got 69 votes and I was seated number 2, so on the county committee. So I'm just grateful to be trusted and loved by the community, and individuals feel comfortable to come and have conversations and willing to vote. So thank you. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Sabrina and Debbie.
So can I just say I love the excitement in your voice, and I hope that we have that excitement across Brooklyn. I want people to be passionate and excited about the Democratic Party. What I will say is my parents taught me, don't ask anybody to do something that you wouldn't do yourself. So what we're asking of other people, we have to be willing to commit to ourselves. You raise your hand, you participate, you get involved. That's how we move forward. The other part of it is we can't just be focused on voter registration and elections when election time rolls around, when the primary rolls around. For those of you who do know me know that I am particularly passionate about voter registration and people voting in the city because we have the lowest turnout and we provide so many methods for people to engage and vote. and it's just very frustrating. And so there's a few things, I've participated in voter registration drives, I've knocked on doors, I've made phone calls. I've participated in fundraisers for organizations like Swing Left. There's so much that we can do, but I will say all of those things, right? But the other thing is we should have a day where it is an engagement day, where we are all collectively knocking on doors and making phone calls, and people see the Democratic Party in action. We need to lift our presence in this borough, and we all need to be excited and energized around what we can do together collectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina and Debbie.
Thank you. So I'll just say, I ran for district leader in the first primary in June, and the support that I received taught me something great. First time running for office and receiving over 41% of the vote taught me that reaching out to folks that may have not known me, and also the education and outreach that I've done in that time frame, in that 7-8 months of campaigning, was crucial and was useful. So I would do the same things. Currently, I am stopping at local churches, schools, in various places, educating folks on the process, on how to register to vote, and how to figure out what is exactly on the ballot. These conversations, like the two people before me have said in different ways, it's not something that's only around election time. And so the work that I've been doing has been ongoing. And I like to go where the people are. If they are at the schools, if you can canvass and talk to people at schools, that's what we're doing. If you can talk to people at local churches or places of worship, that is where we're going. And that's what the work entails. And so I'll continue to do that as I've done before.
All right, thank you, Debbie. And we're gonna go to Gina, and then we're gonna go to Ms. Henderson. And then Arlene.
If you're talking to me, I think I already answered the question. So Janice Henderson, I think, is
Got it.
next.
And Arlene. Thank you, Gina.
Okay, so I believe in grassroots and going and knocking on doors and getting people and talking about what's going on with the Brooklyn Democratic Party and being and voting and all that. One of the things you can do is also to engage in the neighborhood associations, going in and speaking as chair. I'm talking as a chair position, and speaking to those organizations, the assembly district committees, of course, engaging them because they also have grassroots and they know their community. But before we can even do that to get more people to vote, we have to figure out what their issues are. I mean, if they can't buy groceries, if they have medical issues and they can't pay their doctors, if they are having problems paying for rent, voting is not going to be the first thing that they want to do. So we need to think about those particular issues and trying to solve those particular issues. So how do we do that? Maybe there's a lot of charity organizations that are around, maybe having on the website a group of charities that filter, that the residents can filter to get some information because they don't know how to get to it. So there are simple things that we can do in order to make their lives easier. Also having community events. Not just saying, okay, we're not going to talk to you until we want your vote. So we have to do things beforehand. So it doesn't take just the first couple of months before the primary or for the election day, but we have to work the entire year to get the people to that level so that they will say, okay, they helped me out. Now I'm going to listen to them about voting and vote for their candidate. So voting is okay, but before we can have them want to vote, we need to have them have their issues, pretty much not solved completely, but at least helping, so that they can think about, okay, now for me to go to the next step, it's voting, so that I can improve my lot for the future as opposed to what's immediate. Thank you.
Thank you. Take it away, Arlene.
Thank you there. I have to agree with a lot of you guys that have said, grassroots. Yes, we got to go back to grassroots and we got to tackle the problem from there. But we also have to remember that every district has its own set of issues. Mine particularly is the high numbers of immigrant families. That's one of the issues that I've had to deal with for the past 2 years, but I've known about it for many years prior to that. But dealing with that issue on an elected level is different, where you knock on a door and they tell you, oh no, I don't vote. They don't tell you that they can't vote. So you are standing there scrambling in your head, trying to figure out why is it that they don't vote, because you just can't come out and ask, well, why? That's infringing on somebody's privacy. So you have to spend more time with each individual in your district in order to find out why is it that they don't vote. And then how is it that you can help them overcome those challenges? But in my district, that challenge goes beyond my own reach at times, which is if they're undocumented, there we go with why is it that my district has such a low voter turnout? Why is it that voter registration for my district is so low? There's a constant revolving door for residents in my district. And that's the reason why, because people are not documented. And I find other ways to try to get, the help for them. Whether they're looking to get their papers, I'll look for a lawyer to guide them the right way to see if they're eligible to get some type of legal status in this country. But again, it goes back to grassroots to try to find out what the real issues are. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication. And if you can unite, because it goes again, unity with other districts that may have the same problems, we may have the solution between 2 and 3 different district leaders to bring about not-for-profits to help us tackle those issues. So grassroots unity to find out how is it that we can help those that cannot vote now, but are potential voters in the very near future.
Thank you so much. Before we have both Naomi and Brad share out, I want to really shout out the artists for being very engaging tonight, both in the chat and on YouTube, Facebook, all of our social media streaming platforms. In a moment, when we close out, we're going to have a few questions coming from the audience. And we ask that each member will please use, audience member will please use the Q&A tab on Zoom. Every question may or may not be answered. However, please, once again, please feel free to post your question in the Q&A tab, and we'll try to get as many questions in as possible from the audience. So let's go ahead and take the opportunity before Naomi and Brad shares out. Just go ahead and take the opportunity to please go ahead and click on that Q&A panel, that Q&A tab panel, so that way I can see your question. Thank you so much. And we're going to now pass it over to Naomi, followed by Brad.
Sure. Most of, what I would say people have already said about, different grassroots things you can do as groups, but the bottom line, it comes down to personal relationships. One of the things I like most about Sense of Brooklyn Unite for Progress is that I individually email people before each meeting and at the end, and I get to know them and develop a relationship. So we're developing a relationship all the time, and I put it in the database with records for assistant secretary. But so it's not just out of the blue about voting rights. Definitely when it comes about issues like New York Health Act, we can talk about voting then, but it's also the small things. What coffee do you like? Let's sneak it in there. And now, as a result, I'm surprised, and I guess I shouldn't be. People contact me about who I should vote for. They don't know about the judges, the more obscure things that aren't as well known. And it's really about all year, the interpersonal over the issues, but also the minor stuff. My kid leaves his applesauce on the floor. Well, appreciate the time now and he's 6, so there's little things. There's times to weave it in there. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. Brad?
Great, thanks. First, thank you to our moderator and everyone here tonight. Glad to be able to participate in a forum like this. But someone said this is a job that meets once a year, and respectfully, I think that's not the right way to think about it. As a district leader, I wasn't a district leader only when there was like a vote or a meeting. I was a district leader every single day of my term. I believe in service, and I found things to give that position meaning. My club didn't have to hold a class educating local folks on ranked choice voting, but we did. My co-leader, Jennifer Fauché, and I, didn't have to hold judicial forums where we brought judicial candidates, not just, people we thought might win. We brought as many judicial candidates as we could to meet with folks, and so they could hear directly from judges. And I can't take credit for this alone, but my club organizes one of the biggest toy drives in the city, helping give out literally thousands of toys to children during the holidays. And that's not in the job description, but we find things to give these positions meaning. And that is exactly how I would approach this position. I would find every opportunity I could to give it meaning.
Thank you, Brad. As we're coming to the close, let's open up have a little fun here really quick. So I'm just going to have everyone use the raise hand feature on Zoom. I don't know if everyone know how to use that or not, but you guys just raise your hand in the video or use the raise hand feature. What is one favorite thing you love about Brooklyn and why? We're going to ask if you can just do this a speed round. I already see Sabrina is ready, and keep this 30 seconds or less. William's there. What is one favorite thing about Brooklyn you love and why? Take it away, Sabrina. You were first.
This is so easy. The people. People in Brooklyn are amazing. I have had so many amazing conversations with people throughout this borough on all different topics. Probably my greatest downfall is that I have these 2-hour conversations with people in the street, but you learn so much from the people that you interact with on a daily basis. So that's my answer.
Take it away, William.
Just like Sabrina said, Brooklyn people are the best. And here we say not breaking bread with our neighbors, breaking pizza with our neighbors. So pizza is the neighbors 1, pizza number 2. Thank you.
Brad.
It's hard to top. Those are good answers. I'm just going to say I love Sheepshead Bay. And this is my home right here in my background. Come down. We have fishing. We have boats. We have fishing boats. We have beautiful waterside parks, and it's free. It's open to the public. Enjoy a stroll. It's a beautiful place.
Arlene.
That's funny. Thank you. I was going to say the people, but you know what? I'm going to change that up. I'm going to say Coney Island. I was reading an article today and actually heard an article today about a certain Republican being interviewed, and they were in Coney Island, and they asked him about his visits to Coney Island, and he couldn't answer straight up. As a Brooklynite, I used to go to school at Abraham Lincoln High School. So Coney Island was one of my favorite spots, and it continues to be. I was there 2 weeks ago. So I would say, other than the people, definitely Coney Island.
God, awesome. Deshaun, and I'm also sorry, Deshaun, I asked if everyone shared out. So if you would like to share your point and then go into the fun fact, just to be fair. Thank you so much, Deshaun.
Oh, no problem. It's okay. I knew we was pressed for time, but it would be the diversity and inclusion of people working with several different people, Black, Spanish, and to name all of them. And also just, I shared in the chat, but also working with Rep Your Block with the county committee members and getting voter engagement is definitely a priority with the voter engagement that we were talking about earlier. And also with our ADC, we had a chance to do ranked choice voting. So we had a chance to do that as well. So thank you for the space and time. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Deshaun. Let's go to Yamil.
I have to say that Brooklyn being so big, you have to really appreciate the creativity and the tranquility that it brings through this creativity. I think that Brooklyn really does an amazing job all seasons. I think, you know, when Brooklyn Knights get together, no matter what borough you're in, I prefer the Promenade because you get, you know, a look at Manhattan, but yet you know you're in Kings County and you know you're right next to home. I just think that, you know, it's a gym and you can do it for free and you feel like you really, you know, did something big. And it's exciting to kids as well. It's a view for adults and kids. And like I said, it's very tranquil and gotta love it.
Take it away, Naomi.
Languages. That you see different languages. And for me, I'm in Midwood. I get to see Hebrew and Arabic nearby, but it's also, even if you don't know another language, if you hear it or even understand how it works, you learn a lot about a culture and different perspectives, which is very valuable in making positive change. So I love that you hear so many different languages so yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Awesome. TS.
Yes, I agree. I agree with Naomi. I'm here for the culture diversity. I'm here for the people. I love the sceneries. I love the parks. It's the most beautiful parks. Love feeding the ducks. The architect, the way that the buildings is created, the art is just a mouthful. It's watery.
Brooklyn it is. Take it away, Emmett.
Sure. Well, I'll second what everyone else said, but I'll just add as well that the parks to me are just an incredibly special place. You know, in a city that's so dense, to have nature, to have space, to do all sorts of things. For me, it was growing up playing baseball in the park, or my first job was in Prospect Park, and even during COVID, when we were all trapped inside, having green space and open space was just so critical to our mental health. And to being able to safely gather with others. So I'll just add the parks, but I definitely agree with everyone else as well.
I agree on these parks, especially during COVID. Gina.
So I agree with whatever has been said, and especially the cultural diversity. And I can't believe nobody has mentioned the food. Just where I live in walking distance, I can have doubles, roti, tamales, Tibetan, momo, Chinese, Vietnamese. I probably left out tons of it, but this is, and when you eat with people, you share with people, you become friends with people, you share bread. It's a great borough for that.
You got, now I'm hungry. The doubles got me. So I'm definitely ready to order some Uber Eats right now. Miss Henderson.
Yes, I definitely agree with everybody, but you know, Brooklyn, you really don't have to leave Brooklyn to see the world, because we have everything here. As you can see my picture, Grand Army Plaza. We have architecture, we have, like everyone else, the parks and the greenery. Hopefully they don't build so many tall buildings like they're starting to do in northern Brooklyn, that we lose that feeling of expansiveness that we have here in Brooklyn. So with Brooklyn, we have the world. Thank you.
Literally, both in politics and in culture, have the world.
We have the world, yes.
Literally. Campbell.
Gina took it from me. I gotta say the food, you know, we have literally everything. You know, we have the best pizza. One of my favorite places to order in from has Chinese and Mexican, which is a great one. You have your craving going on. And just the night after next, my parents and I are celebrating my mom's birthday at Peter Luger's. You know, we'll probably have junior cheesecake afterward.
You can never go wrong with Junior's Cheesecake, a forever classic. Debbie, take it away.
I am going to second all of the candidates and say, you know, the diversity and the different things that you can find. But what I love about Brooklyn is that every block is not the same. And so you can find literally everything anywhere. But one of the things I gawk over every morning is the school drop-offs. I think it's the cutest, most interesting thing ever. It doesn't happen the same way in every city. In the other larger cities, you'll see a lot of buses, but just, you know, in the smaller schools and the daycares and how the community binds together in the morning, you'll see tons of caretakers, parents coming together and communing on the corners. I think it's just an amazing thing. So, yep, that's what I love about Brooklyn.
One love, we always do love everything that we do here. And look, being in this city is magical. And we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that we're doing the best in serving our community and make sure that we're putting best forth, especially come tomorrow for your election and also in November where we're also voting in the general election. I cannot thank each of you enough tonight for being here tonight and really sharing your thoughts, and also just opening up to sharing what you love about Brooklyn and really thoroughly answering questions tonight and giving full answers for the community. And most of all, to every audience member that joined us for tonight, thank you as well for being part of this forum. This is very important. And once again, we ask every member to please go cast their vote tomorrow. You heard everyone speak tonight. And I do want to address one question that is in the panel is, how will district leaders improve visibility towards poll workers at Election Day? This is an open floor. Please answer within 30 seconds or less. I'm asking if you can use the raise hand feature. Everyone may not be able to share out, but I'll take about 4 share outs, and then we'll close.
I mean, I'll jump in as a recent district leader. I mean, my co-leader and I, you know, Jennifer, our tradition on election days, and even before Jennifer and I were co-leaders, is we went to every poll site we could, you know, introducing ourselves, partly to see that the election was going okay, that there were no major problems, the BMD was working, you know, they have all the supplies they need, and partly just to say hi, you know, here's who we are, you know, let us know if you need anything, if we can help.
Thank you. We'll take another share from the panelists and then we'll close out. Arlene?
Yes, thank you. So as a district leader, what I also do is that I personally meet poll workers. If you go around in my district into my poll sites, they will tell you they have my telephone number. All of them have my telephone number. I tell them to share my number if they have any issues, to please give me a call. You know, if they want to be changed from one site to another, give me a call. I'll make it happen. No questions asked. So I let them share my telephone number, and that's how we communicate. And I'm proud to say that all of them have, at least 500 have my telephone number. And it's okay if they call me in the middle of the night.
I have your contact too. So yes, I agree. Go for it, Ms. Henderson.
Yes, I'm not a district leader, but I can talk on the other end of it. I would think that to make it easier for people to become poll workers, I know there's sometimes an issue with how do you become a poll worker? Who do you contact and things like that? So it's not very easy to become a poll worker. So I would suggest that maybe some improvement on how that can happen, and maybe like something on the Brooklyn Democratic Party's website can help with that. That's what I've heard from some of my constituents in the 57th.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we gotta get our youth out as well too. William, and we'll close out with Gina.
Yes, I'm a chair of the ADC 50th, and what we do is we really require our county committee members to help get out the vote, help the seniors get to the poll station, and talk to your neighbors continuously. How important is, you know, even though we all know it's going to be Democrats going to win, we need the numbers. We have to show that we're coming out to vote. Question before, past 2 weeks, we raised $16,000 for Planned Parenthood. We've been getting people involved. This Saturday, we're doing a block party. We're going to raise funds for the flooding in Puerto Rico. Tomorrow, we're having a story time with the children. Every opportunity we have, we engage our neighbors and we get people to register to vote. I honestly was not joking when I said in the past month, we got over 100 people to register to vote. That's how you do it. You got to be where the people are. And they are our people. They're our neighbors. So it's easy to get through. It's just talk. Thank you.
Take us home, Gina.
Okay, so as a county committee member, like Arlene, I share my telephone number and my address. And a gentleman who was a poll worker in this case from the Pakistani community, was very, very sad, came to my porch, rang my doorbell, and asked me why he wasn't called, even though he had worked, and he really needed the money. And I tried to call the Board of Elections, my district leader. I tried a lot of things. I even gave him a cup of coffee and something to eat because I felt so bad for this guy. So I think we really need to help help people, especially poll workers and people who want to be, understand the process and also clarify it within the party as to who has the ability to select poll workers, what are the qualifications, and how is everyone who wants to do it given a fair chance, an opportunity to do it and earn, even if it's a small amount of money, the money that they are hoping for and depending on in that position.
Thank you, Gina, for closing us out. And thank you, Jason.
I'm sorry, Jermaine. Can I just jump in real quick because I am very big on BOE. I have to let everybody know. I love my poll workers. So I have to jump in on this one so that I can let Ms. Anderson and Ms. Henderson know that BOE is supposed to let each person that calls them that wants to be a poll worker, they're supposed to go through the website to do an application. They're supposed to give them the information to their district leader so that they have communication directly with us. So what's been happening lately, that has been one of my, I will call it my job. It's not paid, right? But it has been one of my jobs that sometimes inspectors will get my information. They will reach out to me directly. I call BOE to find out where is this inspector located based on what their information to me is. So what is it that they need? I will try to fix that up with BOE or go to the district leaders and say, hey, listen, handle this. This is what they want, and please do it and get back to them. So it's communication between the district leaders, the liaison, BOE, whoever is the teams, whoever are the teams that are working to make sure that the poll sites are being properly staffed to be able to communicate with each other so that then we can communicate effectively with all our inspectors. Because I don't consider just the 54th Assembly District my inspectors. I consider them all my inspectors because at the end of the day, they are supporting all of our voters. So it is not my inspector, it is not yours, it is ours because it's our voters that we are catering to, because I like to think that we cater to our voters so that they continue to come and vote. So that has been one of the things that I've been working on as well for the past 2 years. I'm very, very passionate. I started as a door clerk back like 20 years ago. I went to being an interpreter because I'm Latina. I know how to speak Spanish. I became a coordinator. So I've been going up the ranks, and I understand the needs of an actual site because I've been there. So being on this end, I'm also able to facilitate on how a site's supposed to run effectively. So not only am I leading my district in that sense, but I'm trying to come out of the district lines so that Brooklyn operates the same way in every site that we have out in Brooklyn. So again, it goes back to what I've been saying from the first time I ran, unity. So you guys want to join me? We can do this together.
That sounds like you're doing a great job, but it's not getting down to the people, the citizens. That's the problem right there. The disconnect between the citizens and the Board of Elections. So that has to do with community outreach and things like that. Who do they contact in order to become a poll worker and all that? So that's what we have to work on.
If you find anybody, just tell them, to reach out to BOE. BOE is supposed to give them our information, and then we take it from there. We take it every step of the way until they become poll workers. And then we find a site where they're comfortable in, closest to home as possible. Sometimes it's not close enough, but as close to home as possible where they can comfortably work, and it's it's doable.
Okay, that's one way, we can do that. We can do that and see how that works. And then if there needs to be an improvement, we can help you with the improvement also.
There's always room for improvement.
Right. Okay. Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
Teamwork makes the dream work. And we're all, at the end of the day, we're one party and I love it. So on that note, this is a perfect segue for us to say this was a really strong forum tonight. These are our Brooklyn County committee members who are running for tomorrow. Please get out and vote. And if you have any further questions or suggestions, please reach out to any of the candidates who are here on this screen. And also, we want to really thank our back end team for making sure that this happens tonight. To our media team is also for making the flyers, the communication, everyone that was involved to make tonight special. Thank you, everyone. No technology did not fail us tonight. So thank you, everyone, for having those perfect microphones and being on camera. And it goes to show you that the day and age has changed, that we're able to have this community forum virtually. And hopefully soon we can all see each other in person as well, hold these type of forums. So again, we're going to end on time. And thank you so much to the audience and to the panelists for making this a very informative night. May everyone please have a great evening.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night,
Bye,
everyone.
thank you.
See you guys soon.
Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.